Defeat was certain, until the Ancient Ones were summoned. The solar system was quiet, but the quiet was not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that comes before a storm. Captain Ethan Miller stood on the bridge of the ship starward, looking at the vast blackness of space. His eyes scanned the screens, filled with the movements of hundreds of enemy ships. The Zorathi fleet was massive, far larger than anything humanity had ever faced. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Every human life depended on him, yet he knew that their chances were slim. The Zorathi had conquered most human colonies. Mars was the last stronghold, and even it was under siege. Ethan clenched his fists. He could not give up. Not yet. Lieutenant Grace Harper, standing next to him, pointed at the main display. "Captain, they're moving into orbit around Mars. Their weapons are ready. We don't have enough firepower to hold them off." Her voice was calm, but Ethan could hear the worry beneath it. Grace had been with him through many battles, and he trusted her judgment. Ethan shook his head. "I know."
"But we have to try. Evacuating civilians isn't an option now."
If Mars falls, humanity loses its home. Crew members moved quickly, following orders, but the fear in their eyes was visible. Outside, the red planet glowed under the orbiting alien ships. Some of the Zorathi vessels were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their armor was shimmering, almost alive, and their weapons could destroy entire cities with a single shot. Below the bridge, in the research lab, Dr. Owen Taylor and his team of scientists were working furiously. They had been studying an old signal picked up from deep space weeks ago. At first, it seemed meaningless, just noise, but after careful analysis, Dr. Taylor realized it was not random. It was a message, or a key, from something old, something ancient. "Captain Miller," Owen said when Ethan came down to the lab, "I think we may have found a way to fight them." Ethan looked at him, hope rising, but cautious.
"Explain."
"We don't have much time." Owen pointed to a holographic display of an asteroid deep in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. "This artifact? It's been hidden for thousands of years. We don't know who made it, but it carries an energy signature unlike anything we've ever seen. If we can activate it, it might give us a fighting chance." Grace, who had followed Ethan down, frowned. "Activate it? How? And what does it do?" "We don't know exactly," Owen admitted. "But ancient texts suggest it is linked to beings called the Ancient Ones. They were legends, myths, stories told to children. But the energy from this artifact, it is real, and it is powerful. It might be able to stop the Zorathi. Legends won't save us, Owen. We need results. Can we even reach the asteroid?" Lucas Reed, a young engineer working with the team, spoke up. "Captain, our ships are damaged, but if we combine what's left of our fleet with the energy from this artifact, we might create a shield or weapon strong enough to hold the aliens for a few hours. That might be enough." Time was short. The Zorathi fleet would strike Mars soon. Every second counted. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "We're going to the asteroid. We have no choice." The ships left Mars quietly, slipping past the outer defenses. Every crew member knew the risk. Many would not return. But humanity had to try. The artifact and the possibility of the Ancient Ones was the only hope they had left. As the fleet approached the asteroid, strange energy readings filled the sensors. The artifact glowed faintly under the surface. Dr. Taylor and Lucas began preparing the activation sequence. Grace looked at the team. "Are we really sure about this? We don't even know what we're activating." "It's a risk, but the alternative is certain death. If we do nothing, the Zorathi will destroy Mars. and humanity will be finished. Ethan stepped forward. Then we take the risk. All hands. Focus. We can't fail. The asteroid was rough, jagged, and covered in strange veins of metal that pulsed faintly. The human fleet formed a protective ring as scientists and engineers went to the surface to reach the artifact. Lucas carefully inserted energy conduits, linking the artifact to their ships. The first attempts to activate it failed. Sparks flew, and alarms sounded on every ship. Tension filled the air. Ethan gripped the railing, his heart pounding. Around him, the crew waited, knowing that any mistake could cost them their lives. "Try it again," Owen said calmly. "Focus the energy through the central node. It has to resonate with the artifact." Lucas adjusted the conduits, and suddenly, a pulse of light shot from the artifact. It was bright, blinding even through the viewing screens. The asteroid seemed to tremble. The energy waves spread into space, and the Zarathi fleet's sensors began to go haywire. "What is happening?" Grace shouted as ships reported systems failing. Alien weapons turned off mid-targeting, and shields flickered. "It's working," Owen said, his voice full of awe. "The artifact is generating a field. Something is coming." The sky above Mars glowed with a strange, ethereal light. Slowly, humanoid figures began to appear within the energy field. They were tall, glowing, and beautiful, with eyes that seemed to see everything. The humans on the asteroid froze. No one spoke. The Ancient Ones were real. Ethan stepped forward, awe-struck. "Are they friendly?" Owen shook his head, still amazed. "I think they respond to our intent, our courage. They sense we are fighting for survival." That might be enough. The figures moved slowly toward the Zarathi fleet. Alien ships fired at them, but their weapons had no effect. The Ancient Ones seemed to absorb the energy and then release it back with incredible force. Entire groups of enemy ships were destroyed instantly, and the remaining ones retreated in confusion. Grace covered her mouth, unable to hide her shock. They're incredible. How is this possible?" Ethan's mind raced. Humanity had always relied on courage, ingenuity, and willpower. Now, it seemed, those qualities had attracted something far beyond imagination. The Ancient Ones were not just powerful, they were responding to human courage. But even with this new hope, Ethan knew the war was far from over. The Zarathi would regroup. They were cunning and relentless. Humanity had a new ally, yes, but it was a fragile and mysterious one. The fleet returned to Mars, carrying hope that had not existed for decades. Civilians cheered when they saw the glowing figures in the sky. Fear turned into wonder, and despair into hope. People realized that even when defeat seemed certain, there was still a chance. Dr. Owen Taylor looked at Ethan and Grace. "We need to study them, understand them. If they are on our side, we must learn how to work with them." Lucas added, "And we need to repair our fleet. The Zarathi will strike again, and next time they may come with even more ships. Then we prepare. Humanity may have a second chance, but we cannot waste it. The Ancient Ones are powerful, yes, but it is our courage and our choices that will shape the future." That night, on the bridge of the Starward, Ethan gazed at the stars. The light of the Ancient Ones shimmered in the sky above Mars. He thought of the billions of humans who depended on him, and for the first time in months, he felt a spark of hope. Defeat was no longer certain. The humans had survived the brink of annihilation, and now, with the Ancient Ones by their side, a new chapter was beginning. A chapter of courage, discovery, and resistance. Humanity would fight, and this time they had power beyond their own understanding, but far in the distance, beyond the edge of the solar system. Alien commanders whispered among themselves. Overlord Kiran, the leader of the Zorathi, swore vengeance. These humans, they are not to be underestimated, he growled. If we fall here, the galaxy will remember the shame. Humanity had survived, but the war was not over. The Ancient Ones had been awakened, the first step in a battle that would stretch across the stars. In the darkness of space, hope and fear collided, and humanity, once cornered and weak, had a chance to show the galaxy what it truly meant to fight for survival. The light in the sky above Mars did not fade. Instead, it grew brighter as the Ancient Ones slowly took form. They were tall, taller than any human, and their skin shimmered like liquid silver. Their eyes glowed with a soft blue light, and even their movements seemed to ripple with energy. Every human who saw them felt both fear and awe. Captain Ethan Miller stood on the bridge of the Starward, his mouth dry. He could not look away. "Grace," he whispered, "they're real. They're actually real." Lieutenant Grace Harper, always practical, shook her head in disbelief. "I knew the legends were stories. I didn't think they were alive. How can something like this exist?" Dr. Owen Taylor stepped forward.
It's hard to believe, but we've always underestimated the universe.
Humanity may be small, but there are forces beyond comprehension. These beings may be the key to survival. On the asteroid, Lucas Reed and a small team worked with the artifact, trying to understand how it connected humans to the Ancient Ones. Every adjustment they made caused the figures in the sky to shift slightly, as if responding to the human touch. "It's like they can feel us," Lucas said quietly. "They're not just powerful, they're aware. Maybe they respond to what we think and feel." Ethan rubbed his eyes. "So they choose who to help? How do we know they'll stay with us?" Owen shook his head. "I don't know. But one thing is clear. They recognize human courage. That may be why they came now, when all seemed lost." Meanwhile, the Zorathi fleet drifted in confusion. Their weapons had failed when the Ancient Ones appeared, and their sensors could not penetrate the energy around them. The alien commanders were panicked. Overlord Kiran paced in his flagship. "What are these creatures? They are not technology. They are something else entirely." "They are blocking our weapons!" Admiral Vec, his second in command, growled. "Sir, they seem to respond to humans." "They are focused only on the human ships and bases. Our fleet is useless. Then we must retreat, regroup, and strike elsewhere. These humans, they are dangerous, far more than we imagined." Back on Mars, Ethan gathered his officers. "We have a new problem," he said carefully. "The Ancient Ones are powerful, but we don't understand them. If they leave, we're still vulnerable. We need to learn how to work with them." Grace nodded. "We need a plan. They respond to courage, right? So we must show them determination, and maybe intelligence, too."
Owen stepped forward.
"I think I can communicate with them through the artifact. It's like a bridge between our minds and theirs. We need to be precise, careful, and honest." Lucas added, "And while we do that, we should start testing our ships. If we combine human technology with the Ancient One energy, we might be able to fight effectively. One focused on communication with the Ancient Ones, and the other on modifying ships and weapons." The energy from the artifact pulsed with every experiment. Every adjustment sent waves through space, visible even from Mars. As Ethan observed, he realized something important. The Ancient Ones were not just tools. They were intelligent, aware, and they responded to human initiative. The humans who were brave, clever, and willing to act became the ones who influenced the Ancient Ones most strongly. Meanwhile, the Zorathi regrouped near the orbit of Jupiter. Overlord Kirin realized he could not win by force alone. He sent scouts to study the Ancient Ones, hoping to find a weakness. But every scout that approached was destroyed instantly, as if the beings could see through strategy and deceit. Back on the asteroid, Dr. Owen Taylor focused on establishing a form of communication. He projected images of human battles, of human courage, and of people protecting one another. The Ancient Ones seemed to understand. They shifted in response, sending pulses of energy that stabilized the artifact and strengthened the human fleet. Ethan called the fleet to attention. All ships, prepare for deployment. We're going to test their power. Grace gave orders. We will take a small strike team to the outer moons. We'll see how the Ancient Ones respond in battle. Teat communication lines open. The first human strike group, led by Ethan and Grace, left the safety of Mars orbit. Their mission was to engage a Zorathi patrol and observe the Ancient Ones' reaction. Almost immediately, the aliens fired their weapons. Human shields absorbed some damage, but the Ancient Ones moved in. They passed silently through space, and their presence caused the alien weapons to fail. Ships collapsed, unable to fire or maneuver. The humans had only to hold course while the Ancient Ones did the rest. Ethan's hands were steady on the controls. Grace, are you seeing this? Grace nodded, eyes wide. They're incredible. We don't even have to aim. They're doing it themselves. Owen's voice came through the comms. Remember, they respond to courage. Keep moving. Stay confident. They are feeding off human determination. Lucas's voice followed. And remember, the energy we're channeling into the ships may help stabilize them. Combine human effort with their energy. This is the key. For hours, the small fleet engaged the Zorathi patrol. The Ancient Ones moved with precision, destroying enemy ships without harming humans. The humans were learning how to guide them, and the Ancient Ones were learning how to respond. Meanwhile, Mars was buzzing with hope. Civilians watched the glowing beings in the sky, their faces lit with wonder. Messages went out across the colonies. Humanity was not defeated. Something beyond imagination had come to their aid. Dr. Owen Taylor studied the energy readings closely.
The Ancient Ones are responding differently than we expected, he said. They are not simply attacking.
They are adapting. They are learning from human strategy and action.
If we can master this, we can change the entire war. Ethan's mind raced.
Then we must teach them as much as we can and as fast as we can. We don't have the luxury of time, Grace added. And we need to prepare the rest of the fleet. If the Zorathi realize their weapons are useless, they will come with everything they have. We need to be ready. Lucas worked tirelessly to combine ship systems with the Ancient One energy. Energy pulses flowed into the human vessels, giving them strength beyond their original design. Shields became stronger, engines faster, and weapons more precise. The first victory against the Zorathi patrol was complete. Ethan looked at the wreckage floating in space. We did it, he said quietly. The Ancient Ones, they're real, and they're helping us. Grace shook her head. We have to remember something important. They respond to courage and determination. If we hesitate or falter, they may not act. Our responsibility is even greater now. Owen nodded. They are powerful, yes, but they are not our soldiers. They are allies, and their loyalty depends on our actions. Humanity is proving itself worthy. Even as hope spread, Ethan knew the danger was far from over. Overlord Kirin would not give up easily. The Zorathi were clever, and they had resources humans could not imagine. But now, humanity had something new. A bond with beings older and stronger than anything in the galaxy. As night fell over Mars, Ethan looked at the glowing figures above the planet. He thought of all the humans who had lost hope, and all the colonies waiting for news. Humanity had survived the first step, but the next battles would be even harder. Grace stood beside him. "Do you think we can win?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "I don't know yet, but we have something no other species has. Courage, determination, and now, allies we never dreamed existed. That's enough to start." Across the solar system, the Zorathi fleet prepared for their next move. Overlord Kirin's anger burned hotter than ever. "We will crush them," he growled. "No legend, no ancient one can stop the Zorathi. Humanity will fall. But far beyond the edge of the solar system, the ancient ones moved. They were aware, intelligent, and they had chosen to stand with humans. They had been summoned in the darkest hour, and now the war had changed forever. Ethan watched the stars. He knew the road ahead would be dangerous, but humanity had a chance. They had survived the brink of extinction, and they were no longer alone. The Ancient Ones had been awakened, and the first sparks of a counterattack were beginning. Mars was no longer just a last stand. It was the starting point of something greater. Humanity would fight, learn, and grow stronger, and this time they had allies who could change the outcome of war itself. The first lessons had been learned. Courage mattered. Determination mattered, and now humans had power beyond anything they had imagined. The war was far from over, but humanity had hope, and hope in the darkest moments was the greatest weapon of all. The Zorathi fleet had regrouped at the edge of the asteroid belt, licking their wounds after the first encounter with the Ancient Ones. Overlord Kirin paced the bridge of his flagship, his anger barely contained. "They are human," he growled, "and they are stronger than we expected. They survived where no one should have." Admiral Vec, standing stiffly beside him, bowed slightly. "Sir, our ships are still powerful, but these Ancient Ones, they cannot be understood. Our weapons fail near them, and our strategies are useless. Then we will adapt. We cannot allow humanity to recover. We will destroy their fleet and their colonies, no matter the cost." Meanwhile, humanity was not resting. Captain Ethan Miller stood on the bridge of the Starward, staring at the holographic display of the Zorathi fleet. Their patrols had been weakened, but they would return. And this time, the humans had to take the fight to the aliens. Grace Harper stood beside him. "We can't just wait for them to come to Mars. We need to attack their supply lines, cut them off, slow them down." Ethan nodded. "We have the Ancient Ones with us now. They are powerful, but we need to guide them carefully. Let's plan a strike." Dr. Owen Taylor stepped forward, his eyes bright with determination. "I've been working with the Ancient Ones through the artifact. They can extend energy fields to our ships. If we combine human technology with their energy, we can launch a counterattack far beyond Mars." Lucas Reed added, "I've modified the fleet. Shields are stronger, engines are faster, and weapons are powered by the Ancient One's energy. Our ships can survive battles we couldn't before. Ethan's mind worked quickly. Then we split the fleet. One group will hit their supply lines near Jupiter's moons. Another will defend Mars and Luna.
Grace, you'll lead the strike team. Grace nodded firmly.
Understood. We'll make sure humanity has the advantage. The human fleet moved silently toward the outer moons, taking care to avoid the larger Zorathi patrols. As they approached, the Ancient Ones hovered above the ships, their presence radiating power. Every human felt stronger and braver. Fear was still there, but courage surged beneath it. The first Zorathi patrol appeared near Ganymede. Their ships were fast and deadly, but the humans had the Ancient Ones on their side. When the aliens fired, the weapons fizzled and died before reaching the human ships. The Ancient Ones absorbed the energy and reflected it back, destroying 2 patrol ships instantly. Lucas Reed grinned.
It's working. We're actually doing it.
Focus, everyone. Keep moving. The Zorathi will try to adapt. We can't give them a chance. Ethan guided another part of the fleet toward a convoy of supply ships. The humans had only a small number of fighters, but the Ancient One's energy made their small numbers terrifying. One by one, the supply ships exploded, their fuel igniting in brilliant fireballs. Over the comms, Dr. Taylor spoke. Remember, the Ancient Ones respond to human courage. Don't hesitate. Be decisive. Act with confidence.
That is how we guide them.
They had never faced an enemy that combined courage, strategy, and beings of such unimaginable power. Some began to retreat. Others froze in fear, unsure of what to do. Ethan felt hope rising. Humanity had been cornered, beaten, and near defeat. Now they were the hunters, not the hunted. This is just the beginning, he said quietly to himself. Hours passed as the human strike fleet destroyed supply lines and disrupted Zorathi operations across the outer moons. The Ancient Ones moved silently, adapting to every maneuver, responding to every human decision. For the first time, humans felt they had a chance to change the war. Back on Mars, civilians watched the energy fields in the sky. They cheered, not knowing all the details, but understanding one thing: humanity was fighting back. Children waved at the glowing figures, their eyes wide with wonder. Parents held them close, tears streaming down their faces. Hope, long thought lost, had returned. Ethan called the fleet back to Mars after the successful mission. We've slowed them down, but they will come back stronger. We need to be ready. Grace looked at the display of destroyed Zorathi ships. We've given humanity breathing room. But Kieran won't stay idle. He will attack with everything he has. Owen nodded. We must continue learning from the Ancient Ones. Their power is immense, but it is not infinite. We need to be ready to act without them if necessary. Human ingenuity is still key. Lucas Reed smiled faintly. That's something the Zorathi will never understand. We're small, but clever. We adapt, and now we have these allies to amplify that. The next day, the humans prepared for a larger battle. Mars's defenses were strengthened, and fleets from Luna and other colonies joined. The Ancient Ones hovered above, their glowing forms both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Suddenly, a massive Zorathi armada appeared at the edge of the solar system. Hundreds of ships, larger than anything humans had seen, glided through space, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Overlord Kieran had returned, and this time, he brought everything. Ethan took a deep breath. All ships, prepare for battle. Remember, the Ancient Ones are with us, but they respond to courage and action. Trust yourselves and each other. Humanity will not fall today. The first Zorathi wave moved in quickly, firing on human ships. Human shields held, but the Ancient Ones moved faster. Their energy enveloped the fleet, nullifying attacks and striking back with incredible precision. Several alien cruisers exploded in moments, leaving the rest confused and hesitant. Grace shouted over the comms, "Focus fire on the capital ships. Keep the fleet together." Lucas added, "We can push them back. Use the Ancient One energy in combination with our weapons." The battle raged for hours. The humans, once on the verge of defeat, now led a counterattack. Every decision, every brave act by the human crews strengthened the Ancient One's actions. They moved like extensions of human will, destroying ships and protecting human vessels. On the bridge of the Starward, Ethan watched with amazement. They're learning from us. The more courageous we are, the stronger they become. Humanity is alive in them. Dr. Taylor nodded. It is symbiosis. We act, they respond. It is a bond based on human spirit. No alien force can understand that. Even as the Zorathi began to retreat, they were shaken. Overlord Kiran realized that humans had changed. They were no longer weak, cornered prey. They had allies that amplified courage and strategy in ways the Zorathi could not counter. Ethan looked at the fleet, battered but alive. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've struck back, but the war is not over. We've shown humanity is not defeated. We've shown the galaxy that humans can rise against any threat." Grace smiled faintly. "And we'll keep rising. With the Ancient Ones and each other, we can face anything." Across the solar system, the humans celebrated their first major victory. Civilians cheered in cities, colonies, and stations. News broadcasts showed glowing figures moving among the fleets, striking fear into the enemy and hope into humans. Even with the victory, Ethan knew the challenges ahead were immense. Overlord Kiran would return, stronger and wiser. Other alien species might attack, jealous or fearful of humanity's new power. But humans had learned something vital. Courage, determination, and ingenuity could change the outcome of any battle. Lucas Reed worked on the ships tirelessly. "If we can continue this, combine technology with Ancient One energy in every vessel, humanity can become unstoppable. But we must also learn to act without them if needed. The Ancient Ones are allies, not soldiers. Our ingenuity and courage must remain our own." The solar system was no longer a prison. It was a battlefield, yes, but also a stage for humanity's rise. They had been cornered, beaten, and on the brink of extinction. Now, they were alive, strong, and ready to strike back. As night fell, the Ancient Ones hovered silently above Mars, their glow soft and steady. They had responded to humanity's courage, and in doing so, had changed the course of the war. Ethan felt a surge of hope he had not felt in months. "Humanity will survive," he whispered, "and we will rise stronger than ever." Far in the distance, Overlord Kiran glared at the stars. "These humans, they have changed, but this is not over. I will not be defeated, not by them, and not by whatever powers they have awakened." The war for the solar system had entered a new phase. Humanity, once cornered and weak, had become a force that could strike back, aided by allies older than the stars themselves. And for the first time, humans believed they could win. The war had changed. Humanity, once cornered and beaten, now held a position the galaxy had never seen. Mars, Luna, and the outer colonies had become fortified centers of human resistance. The Zorathi had been pushed back, their fleet shattered, their supply lines broken. Yet the humans knew this was not the end. Overlord Kirin had retreated, but he would return, stronger and more cunning. Captain Ethan Miller stood on the bridge of the Starward looking out at the stars. The Ancient Ones hovered above the fleet, calm and glowing, their light reflecting on the hulls of human ships. Humanity had learned to work with them, and now they were not just surviving. They were planning to expand, to explore, and to take the fight to the aliens. Lieutenant Grace Harper approached. "Captain, the fleet is ready. Supplies have been restored. The Ancient Ones are stable and cooperating. It is time to act." "Agreed. Humanity will no longer wait. We will take the fight to the Zorathai and reclaim what they have taken. We will also show other civilizations that humans are not to be underestimated." Dr. Owen Taylor joined them, holding a data tablet filled with projections and maps. "We have analyzed the Zorathi fleets and territories. They are disorganized after their retreat.
Their colonies are vulnerable. We can strike decisively if we coordinate with the Ancient Ones.
Lucas Reed, standing nearby, grinned. "I've finished modifying the ships with hybrid technology."
Shields are stronger, engines are faster, and weapons now channel Ancient One energy directly. Our fleet is ready for anything." Ethan turned to the fleet commander. "Then we move. This is humanity's moment. Stay focused, stay brave, and remember, our strength comes from courage, ingenuity, and the bond we share with our allies." The human fleet moved like a single organism, guided by both human strategy and the Ancient One's power. They traveled beyond Mars, past the asteroid belt, and into the regions where the Zorathi had taken colonies. Every jump was calculated, every maneuver precise. As they approached the first target, a Zorathi colony on Callisto, Ethan briefed the officers. "We will attack their supply depots and communication centers first. Our goal is to disrupt and confuse. The Ancient Ones will shield us and amplify our attacks. Move swiftly and decisively." Grace led the strike team, piloting her ship through the debris field surrounding the colony. The Zorathi had left automated defenses, but they were no match for the combination of human tactics and Ancient One energy. Shielded by glowing fields, the human ships advanced, striking down turrets and cutting through automated fighters. On the surface, human engineers landed in teams to disable critical systems. Lucas Reed coordinated with them through the fleet network, channeling Ancient One energy to stabilize their equipment and speed their work. By the time the Zorathi realized what was happening, the colony was already lost. Human ships had dismantled weapons platforms, and energy pulses from the Ancient Ones had neutralized most defenses. The humans took no lives unnecessarily, focusing on disabling the infrastructure and sending a message: humanity was rising. Ethan watched the colony fall under their control. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We will take every territory they hold and show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." Grace smiled faintly. "And every time we fight, the Ancient Ones learn. They respond to courage, yes, but they are also learning strategy, adapting. The more humans act boldly, the stronger we become." Owen nodded. "We must continue studying them, but also trust our instincts. Humanity's ingenuity is the key. The Ancient Ones amplify it, but they do not replace it." Lucas added, "The hybrids work perfectly. Ships can now perform maneuvers we could only imagine. We have speed, precision, and firepower beyond anything the Zorathi expected." Overlord Kirin watched through damaged sensors as humans reclaimed territory. His anger burned. "These humans, they are more dangerous than I imagined, but they are still mortal. We will strike again, We will not lose to them. But humanity was no longer afraid. They had tasted victory and learned what courage could accomplish. With the Ancient One's power amplified by human determination, the Zorathi could no longer rely on their previous strength. We will not stop at the colonies we reclaim. We will explore beyond our system, reclaim lost worlds, and show the galaxy that humanity has returned. The Ancient Ones are allies, but we must continue to prove ourselves worthy. Grace added, we must also prepare for other species. Some will fear us, some may try to attack, but we can show that humans can be allies as well as fighters. Strength and wisdom together will define us. The fleet moved to the next target, a large Zorathi stronghold on Europa. It was heavily defended, but the humans now had confidence. They moved as one, the Ancient Ones' energy shielding every ship, amplifying every human decision, striking down alien defenses before they could respond. Ethan and Grace coordinated strikes, dividing the fleet to attack multiple points at once. Human ingenuity shone as engineers landed to disable communications, while fighter pilots used new maneuvers to confuse the enemy. The Ancient Ones moved silently, destroying the strongest alien ships with precision energy blasts. By nightfall, the colony was under human control. Victory was clear. Civilians were evacuated, and the Zorathi survivors fled. Humanity had not only fought back, they had conquered where once they would have been defeated. On the bridge of the Starward, Ethan allowed himself a moment to reflect. We've come far, he said quietly. But this is only the beginning. We have to continue, explore, and reclaim. Humanity cannot stop now. Dr. Owen Taylor studied the Ancient Ones. They are more than allies. They are a reflection of human potential. Courage, loyalty, ingenuity. They respond to these qualities. Humanity is not just surviving. We are growing stronger. Lucas added, and every battle teaches us more. The hybrids make our fleet nearly unstoppable when combined with human decision-making and Ancient One energy. We can reach further than anyone imagined. Grace looked out at the stars. I never imagined we could come this far. From the brink of defeat to this, a new dawn for humanity. We've earned it. As humanity expanded its control, the Ancient Ones remained by their side, silent but powerful. They had responded to the humans' courage when all seemed lost, and now they watched as humanity took its first steps as a galactic power. Even Overlord Kirin, despite his anger, realized the truth. Humanity had changed. They were no longer weak, vulnerable, or predictable. They had allies older than the stars themselves, and a courage and ingenuity that could not be matched. Ethan prepared a message to send to all human colonies. We have survived when defeat seemed certain. We have fought with courage and ingenuity. We have allies beyond imagining. Humanity will continue to rise, to explore, and to defend its place in the galaxy. We are no longer cornered. We are no longer weak. Humanity has a new dawn. The colonies received the message with cheers, tears, and relief. People who had once thought all hope lost now felt pride, courage, and determination. Humanity had returned from the brink of extinction stronger than ever. The fleet continued its expansion, exploring distant moons and planets, reclaiming lost human colonies, and sending messages to other species. Some came as allies, inspired by humanity's courage. Others watched from afar, fearful of the humans and their new power. Ethan stood once more on the bridge of the Starward, Grace at his side, Lucas working with the fleet engineers, and Dr. Taylor analyzing data from the Ancient Ones. They had survived the impossible, fought back against overwhelming odds, and learned that courage and ingenuity could change the course of the universe. The Ancient Ones hovered above, their glowing forms a constant reminder of the bond between humans and the beings who had been summoned in the darkest hour. They had tested humanity, amplified human courage, and now watched as humans built their place among the stars. Ethan whispered quietly, "This is just the start. Humanity will continue to grow. We will not forget the courage that brought us here, and we will face every challenge together. The stars belong to no one, but we will protect our home and our future." Grace smiled. "And we will make sure the galaxy knows what humanity is capable of. Not just courage, not just power, but ingenuity, determination, and heart. That is what makes us human." Far in the distance, Kieran's fleet lingered, plotting, scheming, but fearful. Humanity had risen from the brink of destruction, and the galaxy would never forget it. The Ancient Ones faded slowly, returning to the dimension from which they had been summoned. They had served their purpose, leaving humans to grow, explore, and expand on their own. But their influence remained. Humanity had learned how to combine courage, ingenuity, and wisdom in ways no alien could anticipate. The solar system was safe, for now, but humanity was no longer small, weak, or fearful. They had survived, fought, and triumphed. A new dawn had begun, and humanity, once thought doomed, now stood ready to shape its own destiny among the stars.